Okay, here we are, going live. Doing this crazy Mo thing. So I converted all my cameras around and I will show you what I'm going on doing right now. So here we go. Just getting my drone ready here. It took me a while to get this all set up, so I'm just trying to get everything dialed in here, and I'm going to get the lawnmower started here in 2 seconds. As soon as I get this. So we're going to mow some Kentucky Bluegrass right now. We're just doing this live. I've just been trying to get this whole vertical thing going here. So we're going to see how well this works out. I got a bunch of cameras set up, and I got okay, well, I'm glad I checked that because I just realized my mic is not even on over here. So yeah, we're going to do this. Kentucky Bluegrass. My drone's going to die probably before I'm done because I've had it on for about 20 minutes while I've been getting all these camera views set up. And I just have all my grass going here, so let's just go ahead and get it done. It has been a couple of weeks since I mowed because of the snow last week, and the temperatures actually have been pretty good. So we're probably going to get some good grass cutting going here. I'm going to turn up my mower up just a little bit so I can get it going a little faster. So in certain camera angles of my yard, you're going to see that I have some bad spots going. I killed some POA back in December, and I'm sure you probably didn't watch my live this morning, but I was talking about it. I used ethofumicate, and what I did is I applied it against the instructions and put it down pretty heavy. So because of that, I was actually just testing out how well it worked, how much it was going to take to kill my Kentucky Bluegrass. And what I did is I had sprayed a regular application the first week. More concentrated. And then it was about 3 weeks after that, and I had applied it again at a strong rate and kind of heavy. go out. So the hoe is gone, of course. So is my Kentucky Bluegrass there. Otherwise what I normally do is I just pull it by hand and then I repair it with some side yard. I did that last year, and the only problem I had with that is the patch grass did not match my color that I already had going in my Kentucky Bluegrass here. So it was kind of polka dotted. So this year what I'm going to do, and I'm just doing this just to do it. I don't have a reason other than, I'm not afraid to do damage to my lawn and have to do repairs and stuff. In fact, I kind of like it. I mean, I've tore up my yard and started over a couple of times just because it's just, I like doing it. In fact, it took me 2 different types of grass seed before I found this one that I'm using right now. And this is the one I like. I had originally put tall fescue in this when I did my first redo, because there was a tree basically right here where I was mowing it was about right here. There's a big huge tree right here, and it got diseased and started dying. It got like root rot or something. I don't know, I had a tree guy come out and look at it, and he told me I needed to take it out. It was dying. It was clearly dying. So that was when I started trying to think of what I was going to do as far as, new grass and stuff like that. And I first put in tall fescue. But man, I didn't know anything about grass, and that was what made me start doing research about grass, because I just wanted tall fescue, and I saw this big old bag of Kentucky 31 at Walmart, and I hadn't planned on buying it there. I just saw it there, and I was like, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for, tall fescue. I had no clue what Kentucky 31 was. So after doing some research, I found out that was a big mistake. And plus, it looked like crap. Terrible. It was terrible grass. It's like pasture grass. Field grass for pastures of cows and things like that. And so, yeah, there I was with a crappy patch of Kentucky Bluegrass. I'm sorry, tall fescue, Kentucky 31. I just hated it. It lasted 6 months, and I tore it out. And when I tore it out, man, I did a whole reno on my yard. I got a sod cutter. I cut the grass out. I removed it. Then I got a rototiller. I rototilled all the root clumps out, and I made a dirt sifter so I could sift all the dirt. I sifted my whole front yard with this. It was like a a plastic bin that I just cut the bottom out of it, and I put that 1/4-inch mesh screen on it, and I basically stitched it on the bottom. And I ran all my dirt that I had clumps of roots in it. I basically had raked up all the clumps of dirt. I'd raked them all up in the piles, and got, I don't know how many piles, just in this front section right here that I'm on, there must have been easily 20 piles of root clumps and rocks and all that stuff. And I just sat down again, going through it and sifting all the grass clumps out of it. And I planted the Kentucky Bluegrass, right? And it was a different, it was a yellow bag. I don't know the name brand of it. It was a Lomo. I got it on Amazon. It started with a B. I can't remember the name of that company. Anyways, it was a Lomo. Grass. And I put that down, and I mean, I liked it. I didn't like it. Okay. But I came back the second season. Over the winter, I was trying to, so I can, because I made some mistakes when we did it. I had listened to a person had they put some nutrient down on it. They're using that nutrient. And I'm just showing my progress, and I'm in Western Washington, and I'm not even saying practices. Forever. And it just doesn't have any ability to hold nutrients, then you can run into some problems. And that's why we talked about soil testing today. Soil testing is, to me, it's not important. Your eyes are your best soil test, because your grass is going to show you if it's got problems. I haven't put anything but nitrogen on my yard in 2 years. And that goes for my putting green too. And you know, this is my putting green right over here. I don't know if you can see me pointing, but I just got to go around the edges here real quick. I'm pretty much done. Blue corners here. First spots on my putting green. Renovation in October. It's actually coming back a little better now. It was too late when I did it, and my grass did not like it. So I'm gonna grab this camera right here, and my drone should be landing, I hope. I'm not sure what it's doing up there actually. I guess it's still got some juice. Anyways, I got to do a little blade height adjustment. I'm not going to do my normal stuff and clean it and all that like I normally do. But I got to land my drone. Yeah, it's getting ready to land right now. Here it comes. The battery just died. So that's the nice thing about the drones is, you know, they kind of land right where they started from. So I don't really have to pay attention to it. Let me cut over to this here. So I'm gonna move my mower in. No, I need to move the camera. It's in a bad spot. So let's just take a second here to do a height adjustment. I mean, this McLean mower, it's a greenkeeper mower, and I've made some adjustments to it so that I can cut confidently at 2 millimeters. Now, stock, you can't confidently cut at 2 millimeters. The things that I've done to it, you may not want to do to your mower, but I basically have made some modifications, not major modifications, just some minor modifications to the bed knife. And I've talked about this over and over on my channel. I just kind of go over it every time because I know sometimes there's people that haven't seen before what I do. So McLean, you know, it's a good company, but you know, I hate to use this term, but you kind of get what you pay for. You know, this is, you know, pretty much the least expensive greenskeeper mower you can find out there. There is no fancy, no frill with this. This is a basic built reel mower that can cut to, they say 3 millimeters. I still question that if you can really cut to 3 millimeters with their setup. And here's the issues. I don't know if it's their quality assurance. I don't know if it's their, you know, I don't know what it is that makes it so that this is what they do. But just simple little parts like this bracket right here that holds this adjusting knob. You know, I've replaced a couple of them because I had stripped out these holes for these bolts. And so I ordered new ones. I got new ones and they didn't fit the same as the old ones. And it was really frustrating because there was a lot of slop in these adjustment knobs. And when there's slop, because you're adjusting it in millimeters, it becomes very difficult to get it to rest at the number you want. You know, since I go to 2 millimeters, I mean, there's not much room for error on 2 millimeters. So with that slop, what was happening was I would adjust one side, and I would have both these about at the same height. I would adjust one side, and then I'd go to adjust the other, and I'd get the other side adjusted in, and then I'd go back to the other one to check it, and it would be just way out. And it was just, there was just play in the movement of this roller. This roller right here, this is what determines your height, your cutting height. So I have this gauge right here, and this gauge, let me get it all set 0. So this gauge is going to measure the distance between the bed knife and the ground, basically. Because at the bottom of this roller, that's basically the ground. So wherever the bottom of this roller is ground level, and where the bed knife is above it, above this height here, above this plane, it is your cutting height. So it's just a little over 3 right now. I'm going to 2. So I still have to mess with it a little bit because it's just not a precision adjusting setup here. I mean, I've done as much as I can to try to get it as and so all I'm doing here is I'll show you in just a second here. Let me get this. Just getting it dialed into 2 millimeters. So that's 2.03. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to check this one. And when you have to adjust it so far, you know, a millimeter and a half is a long adjustment. You have to check each side. Now each side is at, oh, check this again. Okay, I got 2.1 and 2.05. So it's 0.05 difference between the front and the back. So like I say, so this, and this is kind of frustrating with this thing too, because there's a piece right here that this catches on the bed knife. So sometimes it will catch on the bed knife. It will be at like 13 millimeters and stuff like that, because that's way too high. The bed knife needs to catch right underneath this here. And so when you go up and down, it's just adjusting. You know, like see here, my fingernail is 1 millimeter. I got my fingernail underneath it. And so that's what we're adjusting. We're just moving this up and down to adjust the height, the blade cut height. So I have it at 2, and now I need to get this all tightened back up. So this is the main tightening piece right here, this cross member. It's got a nut right here and a nut right over here. Right here. And these, or I'm sorry, right here. These 2 nuts, when it's tightened, the bolt's tightened down. It's just a threaded rod straight through here. When that's tightened down, I guess I didn't really have that camera adjusted after it tilted up, but sorry about that. When that's tightened down, it basically is holding all this in place. These stop nuts here are just that. They're just stop nuts. They're good to kind of help keep it in place and tight, but technically I've ran without them being tight, and the cutting height doesn't change. So that's really all there is to adjusting this. I mean, it took me a few extra minutes here just because I'm trying to explain as I'm going, oh shoot, as I'm going through this, what's going on. But that's basically the gist of it. And because there's so much room for error in the adjustment because of the way it's designed, it just is, it is what it is. So I'll go over just a couple of things really quick before I get out and mow the putting green, because the putting green is going to look super sweet when I'm done, because it's been growing like crazy. It's been 2 weeks since I mowed it. So because of, let me get this off of here. Put a sandbag down on it to hold it down. Okay, so if you look in here, it's hard to turn this, the reel is a little tight right now. So the reason why is, I don't know if you can see right here or not, but this is not the stock roller. This is a custom roller I got. This is actually a 2.5 inch roller. The stock roller is 2 7/8. That difference between 2 7/8 diameter and this 2.5 inch diameter is what makes it so this bed knife, I'm sorry, the reel and the roller can't be adjusted really any lower than 3. And I even doubt that it can go to 3. After the way I had been measuring it before I got that gauge, I'm not even sure I was ever cutting it at 3 millimeters, although I thought it was. But so what happens is the lower you go, this reel would make contact with the roller when you're adjusting it down to 3 millimeters. And that's what was happening. I was getting this noise coming out when I would adjust it really low, and I didn't know what the noise was. And then I finally figured out that the reel was rubbing on the roller, and the stock roller is slotted. And I have it right over here somewhere. It's slotted, and it's really heavy. Without killing myself. So these are metal. So, and then it's got these sides here, and then on top of that, this is like leaving an extra stripe in the mow. So with that flat roller, it doesn't do that anymore. But so these were hitting the reel when it was adjusted really low, 3 millimeter. And because of that, it was making a noise and it was scraping and it was kind of ruining the reel. So once I figured all that out, I found a Golf Co. company that makes custom rollers for golf courses and all that kind of stuff. And they, had a 2.5 inch. All they had to do was modify it a little bit, because this is not the stock way that this is on here. I basically gave them my roller, and they came up with a method of making it so their roller would fit on my brackets. And there's not much to it. It's just about a bearing hole size to fit into their bearing hole right down here. And since it does, everything works great. So that fixed my problem. The secondary problem was my bed knife, and I have a video on my website about this. I have another bed knife up here somewhere. I have so many extra parts because, I mean, I've spent a lot of money to get this so it will cut my putting green the way I wanted to cut it. So see this right here? So I've ground my bed knife down here on the bottom, and I have no idea what damage it's going to do. I don't know how much it's going to wear out. I mean, these bed knives are like $180 or something like that. No, 300 bucks. They're but 300 bucks. Anyways, I ground them down because when they come from McLean, it's thicker right here. And what's happening is this thickness is what was preventing me from being able to mow lower than 3 millimeters as well, because this thickness was almost 3 millimeters. And what was happening is, I'll see if I can demonstrate it here on the ground. When you are mowing and this is on your mower, this is basically, you know, sitting like this, and it's just barely off the ground. Well, if you have it set, it's cutting up. The cutting height is on the top. Okay, that's the cutting height where it's measuring to. So anything below that thickness wise ends up digging into your soil when you're mowing that low. Sorry, I am not showing this very well. But anyway, so because of this thickness here, so that's why I ground it down, so I can get it so that I can get it off the ground enough. And I mean, even still, this is, you know, probably a little over a millimeter, so it is very close. And actually, when I am mowing or pushing my mower out my driveway, because I have like that exposed aggregate rock driveway, what happens is I have to lift this up and push it because my bed knife drags, and you can actually hear it. It's dragging right here on my board because there's stuff on my board from backlapping it and all that stuff. And so you'll see when I mow here how great of a job it does. I mean, it does an okay job. I mean, it's not no professional, or I mean, it's not no, listen to my language here. It's not any really great invention. I can't see that view. Just going to adjust my down. I'm going to put this camera right here. So if you just bear with me for a minute here, I need to make a new scene to show. I didn't realize this other camera was sitting at an angle here. I have it mounted on my flagpole. So I got to put a new battery in my drone. I'm going to put my drone up. I'm going to make a new scene so that I can show the putting green in a few different angles. And hopefully everything's great. I'm going to set this over here, take off. So if the battery runs out, it lands in the middle of the yard. I'm going to move this camera here. If it will move. Looks like this camera's like how's it going, guys? Great. You guys have to be careful. Don't do anything. Okay, thank you. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's not fake. I know it looks like it. I'm mowing it right now. How could it be fake? Look at the real grass on the sidewalk. It's not fake. Where do you live? Giant big blue house around the corner? Oh, behind the park? Okay. All right. Well, be careful in your travels, sir. No, you have a great day, sir. Okay, so I'm just launching my drone right now. I have no idea who that kid is. I didn't pay him to come over here and say a thing. That was all in his doing. I think it's kind of funny how kids recognize a nice looking lawn. I think it's so funny. I mean, when I was a kid, I mean, I would have, but I never went up to people and said, "Hey, man, you got a great lawn." I still don't even say it to this day. You know, if you have a nice lawn, you have a nice lawn. I think that's great. You know, there's a guy around the corner that redid his lawn. And okay, hold on. Let me add some sources here. I'll get this going for you so you can see that view. Make an adjustment real quick so I don't got to see all that garbage. Gotta move that out of the way. Oops. All right, so that's the drone. Yeah, it's amazing how when the sun comes out, people just come out of the woodworks here and start showing up, walking around. I mean, we have a park right down the street here, and a lot of people just walk to go to the park and stuff like that. And it's like an actual, you know, like a woods park, like a forest park. It's kind of between here and the sound. It's really nice. I'm just trying to see what other sources I can add here. Let's see, I'm going to add this guy. Oops. I just threw this live together pretty quick today, so I didn't really plan ahead on any of these camera views or anything like that. So I got one more camera I'm going to add, and it is right here. It's that one. Say okay, and we'll throw that one down here, and we'll make it so it fits. So there's a couple of views for you to check out while I mow the putting green. Let's see here. Let me see this one here. I'm going to kick this one up. All right, I think that should do it. Okay, I better mow before my drone dies. I guess I can make this one a little bit longer. How's that? All right, we'll just go with that right there. Okay, so there's my camera views. Got my mower ready. I didn't even clean it off, so it's just. I would say the best thing about this mower is definitely the Honda engine that it's got on it. I don't really know where to mow up here. I just probably screwed up. So I don't know how light. I can't see the screen on this thing, but that's right. Mowing it just look better when I'm done. So I don't back my grass. And that was one of the things I was a lot this morning. And I don't want to get rid of it. But by doing this, I'm basically adding the nutrients that the putting green needs on. And because of that, I'm getting the nutrients that the plant needs to grow. Because it's got a much sandier soil, and the reason why is because that's what I put on it. I put a lot of sand down, and when I'm leveling it, I don't know, probably in May, or I don't know, I might do it in April. Sometime soon I'll be doing some leveling. It's really soft, and that's because I did put a lot of sand on it, and I rolled it and all that kind of stuff. But there's not a lot of people that walk on this, and because of that, there's no. And my neighbor across the street, Chuck, he's an avid golfer. He loves to golf, and he's come over a few times and done some putting with me on the green here. In fact, when I'm done today, I'm going to do some. I probably am going to need to get my blower out and blow this. This grass is really thick. So like I said, I don't know how well you can see. Oh, I don't even have this camera on. I don't know how well you can see the thickness of how much I'm cutting off, but it's probably, if I'm mowing at 2 millimeters, I should only be cutting less than a millimeter off per the information everybody in lawn care that has a YouTube channel tells you. The third blade rule. I don't personally live by that on any of my grass, and the reason why is because I can't. I have a job. I can't always get out here and mow, and there's some times that I'm too tired, too old for that crap, and mow, at least 3 times a week. I always mow it Saturday and Sunday on the weekends. And those are my sit mowing days in the summer when this thing is actively growing. Now I do plan to use some plant growth regulators, some new this year, but I like everything. I probably won't. I enjoy mowing. I think there was maybe 1 week last year where I wasn't able to mow on Wednesday when it really needed it. So what happens is on Saturday I mow it a little bit higher, and then I'll mow it twice, and then on Sunday, putting green, and that's when I created all my other bed knife. On my shoes, and then it ends up on my putting green, and it ends up in my especially back. Started cutting it this slow. I took up a big rock on the sidewalk actually. Not being consistent, I guess would be the word. You know, one bed knife is, you know, this thick, and the next bed knife is that thick. And, you know, when you're talking, you know, just a millimeter, that's a lot. Just like the brackets, the same thing. When those brackets come in and they're not the same thickness you're used to, and you're adjusting and all that stuff, it just doesn't make any sense to you why it's not working. And these are all the learning curve things I had to do with this reel mower to get it to where it's working the way I need it for my mow. This putting green, oh my God, it looks so great. I mean, I wish I didn't have those bare spots. And I just want to just pack this with nitrogen and get it growing. I want the temperatures to get up there and, you know, make this grass grow. I would say this is the first week in, I don't know, how many months is that, since October. Whatever that is, 5 months, 6 months. This is the first week that I've actually had this much growth in my putting. And actually this was 2 weeks worth of growth because I couldn't mow last weekend. But it was so cold, I doubt that it really grew that much. When I came out here today, I could notice how thick it was. So, all right, so I'm doing a third cut on it just because it was so long. And I don't know. I don't know if the drones had it yet or not. I think it's probably getting close. I want to go grab my putter and a ball and do a little roll test on it. I mean, it's only been dry for like 2 days. I cut it in the opposite direction that I originally cut it the first time. So I did 3 mows. I did up and down, and then I did side to side, and then I did it up and down again. But the second time when I went up and down on it, I went against the grain. And that's what I do when I'm cutting it at a thicker, um, when it's growing so good. When there's a lot of grass to cut, like say I missed a day or something like that. That's just what I do. Okay, all my camera views still look okay, I guess. So I have golf balls right here. I got a putter right over here. And I know there's a lot of grass still on there, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do this because the drone's still going. Okay, so my putting green runs up and down. And right now up here, this is uphill. And when the hole is down here in this area, this down here where I'm standing. So if I was putting in this direction towards me, it would be downhill. So this is going to be uphill. And I could show you the difference when I putt. It'd be really sweet if I could make one. Ooh, so close. It's got a little slight break at the very end. Oh, shoot. So I'm trying not to hit it too hard just so you guys can see the roll and the flow of the putting green here. I'm not really concentrating too much on the putt. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to put away, maybe till I'm going to hit it. To get to the hole. So well, I guess I'm not going to make one today. I got 2 more tries, but it's funny when I don't have a camera on. Like I came out here a couple weekends ago and I was putting and I was just hitting them left and right. I was making more than I was missing. And then on a day like today, I can't make anything at all. Come on. Oh my goodness. Oh. How short it is. Oh my goodness, I can't see. So then you can see the grass around the hole here. And I hope my internet connection is stable enough here. Anyways, I'm not gonna So it'll get these things up here, and then I can get a better, cleaner mow on it. I haven't raked it. It's been a while since I raked it. So you can see there's a lot of laying down going on with a lot of these blades, just because it's the winter and stuff. So uh, that's what that looks like. Maybe the drone's giving you a good view from overhead. And then, so I don't know if you can see here how the grass is starting to recover from my ethofumizate attack I did on it. I'm going to put a little grass seed down in here. I'm going to get it to recover, but you know, I'm wondering how well it's just going to fill in on its own. I mean, I hate for my grass to look like this, but I do want to see how well it repairs itself. You know, just basically, you know, record that, you know, monitor it, be able to show how this Kentucky bluegrass repairs itself. I mean, this whole here was just out. And then you can just see here, it's got a bunch of little spots that are starting to come back up. You know, there's no grass seed, no anything going on here. There's no sprouting of any sort. This is all from the roots. And this is all from ethofumizate. Oh, look, there's a drone landing. I've had enough, man. I'm over. So a couple other things I'm going to show you out of here. These areas right here, grass in the winter. Sun. So this has got, you know, some sprouters coming in here, and I'm not talking sprouters from grass seed. I'm talking, you know, from the roots, what was already in there, doing some recovery. So from here, I lose this every season. So house, basically, this shadows my whole side. Started. It goes away. And this here, I'm gonna have to plant some grass seed. So I'm putting in shade mix right here, and I'm filling this whole area in, but you can see just how this whole area back here is hurting. And I know my connection usually goes bad over here, so I hope this is working for you. You know, even this spot right here, I think I sprayed some ethofumizate right there. But even this area right here is a little bit light. So, all right, so anyways, that's a look at my mow. That's my Kentucky bluegrass. This is my bent grass, putting green, 2 millimeters, and Kentucky bluegrass at 8 millimeters. And let's see what this looks like down here. I mean, is it a great mow? No, because I just really didn't spend any time on it. You know, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll use my do-it to kind of stand the grass up too. And it also knocks down the worm castings. I had a couple of worm castings in here today, but I just went over them with the mower. I didn't even care. You can't really see them, but that's what I did. So anyways, that is my mow for today. I don't know how well this all worked out for the live, but I appreciate you watching if you stuck around and watched. And I'll work on some more videos and post them online here after a while. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great one.